All right. Well, hello, everybody. Priscilla Freed, and I've got a really exciting interview for you today. I want to introduce myself really quick here, and then I want to tell you about our exciting interview. So I'm a lifestyle transformation coach. I'm in Littleton, Colorado, and my team and I focus on helping others achieve optimal health in both body and mind, and we do this through customized fitness training, nutrition education, and compassionate coaching, both in our studio in Littleton and online around the country. And in order to achieve optimal health, we wholeheartedly believe that you need to take a holistic approach. In other words, it's not enough to exercise or to just eat healthy. You gotta work on the whole picture. You gotta look at the whole picture, like how's your stress level? How are your finances? And most importantly, how good are your relationships, whether it be with your significant other, your kids, or your boss? So, well, when it comes to bettering your relationships and communication, there's no better coach to guide us than Andy Christensen. He is going to be one of our key speakers in our upcoming Summit 2020 Expand Your Vision. This is on January 24th and 25th. And this is a whole life conference. It's dedicated to helping you achieve more than you've ever envisioned for yourself in 2020, because it's not just a new year, it's a new decade. And if you want to achieve your best physical, financial, and emotional health, and boy, do our relationships affect our emotions, right? You need to be at this conference. So let's meet Andy and give a taste of what's to come. Let me introduce him for you here. He's co-founder of Capacity 7. He's an influencer, he's an advisor, he's an author, and he's a speaker to Fortune 500 armed services and not-for-profit organizations. And he has a passion to serve, and I've gotten a chance to speak with him on his heart for helping others with their relationships from his own personal experience. So he equips the next generation of millennial and centennial leaders as a leading authority and a pioneer of the modern mentoring movement. He's also founded two leading communication organizations, leadershipbd.com and couple.life. And on the fun side, he also loves adventure. And I can't believe you are hiking Mount Kilimanjaro in 2021. That's pretty impressive. So welcome, Andy. I'm really happy to have you with us today.
Glad to be here, coming in from Atlanta, Georgia right now. It's
awesome.
Becoming winter.
So, well, tell us, you're in Atlanta. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and what
Sure.
how'd you got into this relationship stuff?
Yeah, I'm a big geography guy. I grew up in Ohio, and for some reason I always ask people where they're from because maybe it gives me some kind of common knowledge, but I've since learned I think I just love adventure and travel. And I've been almost everywhere in America, and I'm trying to get to every country. That'll never happen. There's too many of them, but been to almost every state in America, less two. And
So I have to ask you, have you hiked a 14er in Colorado yet?
Oh, absolutely. There's so many. I wish I could hike them all. The last one, we did Long's Peak twice, which is pretty close to you.
Oh my gosh. And that's a hard one. You got to get up at 3 or start at 3 o'clock in the morning, I hear.
Oh, it's brutal. And every 14er we've climbed has been in Colorado. Albert, massive, a couple others. And then we decided to go to California last year and hike Mount Whitney, which you have to get a permit for and a lottery. Wow. It's pretty tough. And that one was midnight.
Oh no.
I mean, it's insane. But
why even bother sleeping,
Well, and that was the problem. Most of us got like 2 hours of sleep, not the right
horrible
recipe to be hiking a brutal mountain. But it was fun. It was fun. We barely made it up and down. And it was, there's just such a feeling of accomplishment. And it's a lot of what you said in your bio and your introduction. I think so many people, and this is what drives me, I want to accomplish more things. And I think most people do. Simon Sinek, the author and speaker, has concluded and done research that when we accomplish things, we release oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine.
Interesting.
It fuels us.
Yeah.
So my goal in life, I'm an encourager and a teacher. I like to help people achieve their dreams. And sometimes that sounds a little cheesy, but we all have dreams, or helping people become their best self. That just fuels me.
Yeah. Well, and you have a great a great story of how you got into helping others with relationships. Just let's share a little bit about that.
Yeah, I don't know if I appreciate you putting it that way. Great story. Probably more of a little self-deprecation, but I've always been a fairly friendly guy. You know, you go back to your childhood, I was always with friends and doing, fun things outside and gathering people together, probably a natural leader. I think everyone's a leader, but probably I was more of a natural facilitator of fun things. And you get older, you're a teenager, and then you start getting into school and advanced school, and you realize, oh, there's different types of people. Like there's introverts and extroverts. I'm definitely more extroverted. But what you're probably referring to that you heard earlier was then the stakes get higher, right? Like you get in your 20s or 30s, and it's like a dedicated relationship with one person.
Commitment.
And it's like, it's very invasive. Like she's asking me to do things that I'm not sure I want to do, like put the cap back on the toothpaste. And little goofy things that, why are you upset about that? It's a towel, and so I started doing some research and eventually didn't find the answers. So I figured I'd take my wife to counseling.
That's always a good plan. Take your wife to counseling. Okay.
Yeah, take your significant other, get them fixed. And so along the way, the counselor said, well, I hope we've done some good with the presenting problem here, which was you want me to help your wife get better. Tell me about you. Like, I don't really have anything I need, but yeah, I'll tell you my story. And a few minutes later, she was in tears.
I can't believe you made the counselor cry.
Yeah, and she's a tough woman. And I was speechless. I felt like I said something to offend her or something. She said, no, I'm just really sad about your childhood. You had two parents that had 3 maladies each: alcoholism, sex addiction, depression, bipolar, all these things. She said, I can only imagine what it was like growing up there. And I'm like, I had a good childhood. I think I did still to this day, but obviously I missed some things along the way because my marriage was not healthy. I'm not sure I was a great dad. And I had friends, but dudes will hang out with anybody if they get alcohol or you do something fun together. But, at the end of the day, what happened was I had to go through AA, which I later coined Assholes Anonymous. I was not a very nice guy. I was very selfish. And I just didn't realize how ill-equipped I was. I didn't have the tools for a really healthy relationship. So what fuels me now, in our marriage, we're 31 years married. It's
Congratulations.
strange. We were at that counselor yesterday.
Wow.
We hadn't seen her in a year. We felt guilty. We're like, we have to go back and see Vicky just to check in. And it's so great being on this side of it now. And we didn't have any presenting problems. She's become a mentor to my wife, and she's a good friend of mine. It's just great to go back and realize how far we've traveled. But now what fuels me and what I want to help do in January is give people some tools if they want them. Here's what works, here's what doesn't work. And generally speaking, with me, if I got better, our relationship was going to get better. So if we get better as individuals, if I can become more self-aware, if I can get better feedback, if I can be mentored and mentor others, I'm just going to become a better person in general. And then I'm going to be a better spouse or significant other. And that's what I want to help people see and get.
That's fabulous. So, and obviously, because we are doing this conference together, we believe in personal growth, personal development, working on ourselves. As you said, you got to look internally, not looking at fixing the other person. So always bettering yourself. So what do you think prevents people from changing so that their relationships improve?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's twofold. It's awareness, and then it's intention. In fact, there's a ton of content and information out there, but until it's personalized, we're really not aware. I was not aware, to use my story again. But then having intentionality to say, okay, I'm not being as attentive as I need to my wife's needs, desires, and likes. Let me go over to her side of the tracks for a little while and see what it's like from over there. Instead of trying to be a 50-50 or 100% relationship, why don't I just go to her side? And why don't we just be 100% on her side? Because I think a lot of times we want people to meet our needs, and I'll do one thing if you do one thing. If you do one thing, I might do one thing. Well, what if I don't have to have anything done for me, but I'm just going to meet their needs? And if they're a healthy human, they're going to say, hey, enough of my stuff. What about your stuff? You know, now it's symbiotic. Now we're having a tennis match. We're both playing, you know, with each other, and we're having volleys, and it's a good game instead of one-sided. So I think it's back to awareness, but awareness without intention, we don't really get too far.
That's great. So maybe we can give a little bit more of a teaser. I understand there's a little bit of something practical we're going to be doing at the conference. Without giving too much away, something that can help us.
Hey, not a problem. In fact, I believe the more we give away, the better things turn out. You know, if somebody
That's true.
By just this video, then that's great. One of the things that I've become passionate about, and I'll start with a brief story. When I was starting out in business, I was in my 20s. I called the most successful business people I knew of at that point in time. And I got their offices. And a lot of times I got the assistant, I didn't get the person, but I said, what makes you guys so successful? And 3 out of 5 of them gave me the same answer. And I thought, there must be something to that. The 3 of them said, we use a behavioral tool called blank. One was DISC, one was Myers-Briggs, another one is, I think, the color code. I thought, wow, and they're basically all the same.
Yeah.
And so I went and got one, took the test. And I was like, wow, this tells me about my superhero powers. And it shows me what I'm weak at, so my strengths and my weaknesses. And I thought, wow, this is like a life hack. And so one of the things we're going to do in January at the conference is give everyone a really simple tool that they can do in 5 minutes. And they're going to find out they're one of 4 primary strengths. And then likewise, what's a weakness? And that kind of gives you a path forward to then know what kind of, I don't know if that's going to mute me, but sorry for the ding. I'll just let it go.
That's fine.
But that will give a person an insight to what they're really good at. And a lot of times that's what's harder to hear. You're really good at that. You should do more of that. And over here, you're not so good at that stuff. So just kind of make fun of it. Everybody's not great at everything. So out of 4 categories, we'll find out what's your highest.
That's interesting. Again, that's really learning about yourself, working on yourself so that you can then, you know, have better relationships and connections with others.
Yeah. Do you want an example?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Because sometimes people are like, well, you didn't really tell me anything. You just said, I'm going to find it out. Well, okay. So if I took my test, I would find out that I'm dominant red. We use 4 colors. And that means that I can bowl over people. I can be insensitive and I can be impatient.
Okay.
On the downside. On the upside, I can lead teams. I can get things accomplished. I can cast a vision for my family and my spouse. Well, one day we were trying to figure out, my wife and I, that's the culprit. Turn that off. We were trying to figure out what school should we send one of our 3 children to. And I knew the answer to this, Priscilla. It was so obvious. I'm a quick thinker, and I'd already run all the numbers in my head and the outcomes. Nikki needs more time to process it, measure twice, cut once. Well, I said to her around breakfast time, I was like, come on, you should know the answer. It's so obvious.
Oh.
Now people are watching me and they're like, now I see what he meant about asshole training. I can be too strong sometimes.
Okay, yeah.
And so I left the house. We kind of got in a fight because she got mad, and you know, that cloud hangs over your head.
Yes.
About 11, 12 o'clock. I'm like, man, I was talking to people. They're like, well, you should pull out one of those cheat sheets you use and find out what you did wrong. I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Use your own tool, right?
Right. So I looked at it and it said, my wife's style, which is a blue, is really gets angry with insensitivity and impatience.
Okay.
So
you brought her flowers that night and
so I called her, yes, and I called her up and I didn't say I was wrong. I said what I said. I said, I'm sorry that I was impatient and insensitive. And then she said, well, I know you were right, but I didn't like the way you said it to me. Oh. So, I mean, how much that did for our day, our week, our month, just some self-awareness and some intentionality, some awareness and intention back to her, and we're better off for it. So I learned to slow down and she speeds up a little bit and we meet in the middle.
That's great. Well, thanks so much for sharing. And thanks so much for your time today. Really excited to have you at our conference. And by the way, guys, Andy came highly recommended by Jeremy, who, if you haven't seen that interview, is really awesome. He's our financial expert. So
Jeremy's great.
Yeah, and we have our relationship expert here with Andy. And so we're just so excited to have you. And I'm looking forward. I want to improve my marriage. I want to improve my relationship with my team, with my staff and my clients, of course. And so I know that your tools are going to help a lot in being able to really learn better about ourselves and how to connect better with others. So that's fantastic.
I'm excited to be there.
Yeah, and so I'm going to put the link in the chat here. So the registration link is summit2020.priscillafreed.com, and it's January 24th, 25th. We have our happy hour to meet the speakers on Friday night, drink tickets and appetizers included during the day. On Saturday, we're going to have a morning workout. Andy, are you going to join us for the morning workout? Look at those guns.
Heck yeah.
Love it. So we're going to have a morning workout. Then we're going to have these great sessions with these speakers, Jeremy, Andy, myself, Beatrice Bruno. And there'll be a great break for lunch to get out in the shopping center and just kind of get some fresh air and network. Lots of great opportunities to meet amazing people. And we're going to have a panel too. So that'll be great to be able to interact. There's going to be a lot of interaction with you. So that's really going to be nice. I hope you're ready.
Hey, I'll tell you what would be great if whatever gender, whatever, your significant other situation is, try to bring them with you. Because what I love most is to help people, like in real time, see these truths, because I mean, it's a guy. I know there's, if there's women coming, they could bring the guys, and you guys bring the women, of course. And if it was my oldest son, he'd be bringing his husband. Whatever the situation is. It's all about relating. It's all about understanding the other person. Because man, on our deathbeds, the 3 biggest regrets. I wish I spent more time with those I loved. I wish I'd worked less, taken more risks.
So
I really want to help people with that first one.
That's awesome. I mean, I've got goosebumps. Absolutely. And totally agree. We really, really encourage you. Got to bring your significant other to this event. So thank you so much, Andy. I cannot wait to meet you and hopefully your lovely wife too.
We're going to do it. It's going to be
awesome.
Great.
And all right. Well, we will see you very soon. Have a great holiday season. We'll see you in January.
Same back to you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Great.